All right. The army of Alexander the Great has fought for 10 years across more than 22,000 miles from Macedonia and Greece in the eastern Mediterranean Sea, through the Persian Empire in the Middle East and Egypt, and on into northern India. Alexander believes that India is a small land at the edge of Asia, and he wants to conquer that land next. His men want to go home. They mutiny. They refuse to cross one more river on the way into India. The men hold a meeting to present their grievances to Alexander.
The time, Alexander, has come to go home. We are your most loyal soldiers. The time has come to return to our wives and children. The one thing a successful general should know is when to stop.
Soldiers of Macedon, we have conquered every nation we have encountered. We have never been defeated in battle. India waits with all of its wealth. There will be rubies and sapphires and riches and precious gems. Look at the wealth we have already won in Persia. Remember how just and generous I have always been in sharing the spoils of war? All of you have gained gold and silver, and the finest treasure from the lands of Persia, Egypt, and India.
That is true, Alexander, but we cannot spend our wealth from the grave. We have been gone so long, our wives will have given us up for dead. Our sons will not even recognize us. Our parents will be old or dead.
Even worse, our wives will have grown old and lonely. They may have found new husbands who are there while we are here.
The gods have supported us so far, but it is not wise to tempt their anger. We have conquered most of the world. It is not wise to be so greedy.
Alexander, you think of yourself as a god. You have become too Persian. You act like the kings of Persia, who allowed people to worship them. It is not right for a soldier of Macedonia to present even worthless Persians to blow kisses at you and lay themselves on the ground with their heads touching the earth. It is not proper behavior for a warrior chosen king by the soldiers of the Macedonian army.
You have even claimed to be the son of Zeus, king of the gods of Greece. It is not right to tempt the anger of the gods. In Egypt, you let them crown you as Pharaoh, a god king. Next thing, you will want them to build a great pyramid for you like those ancient tombs.
The men discuss their complaints among themselves as Alexander tries to find words that will change their minds.
Alexander has already given orders that his body is to be mummified. A pyramid will be next.
It isn't any worse than acting Persian. He associates with Persian princes now. He acts like the Persian soldiers and dresses like a Persian king. Has no good way for a Macedonian warrior to behave. He has as many Persian friends as Greek warriors.
Indeed, we are an army of Macedonians and Greeks, not the barbarian sons of conquered foreigners. It is another sign of Alexander's misguided actions. We conquered all of Persia, but the Persian culture has conquered us.
Alexander has lost his mind. Look what happened to Philotas, his friend and a great general. Philotas complained as we are doing about our endless journey. Alexander decided that he was a traitor and had him tortured and killed.
Even worse, Cletus was a valiant warrior who dared to criticize Alexander in public. Alexander grabbed his spear and stabbed his friend to death. Cletus had saved his life in the battle of the Granicus River. Alexander showed no loyalty to the men who loyally followed him. He had General Parmenio killed too.
Victory has affected his judgment, but defeat might make him even more stubborn.
He's become a god to himself. I mean, look, he's named 17 cities Alexander, just after himself. Now he's named a city in honor of his horse, Decebalus.
Alexander is still the greatest war leader of all time. He has led us for 10 years. We have never been defeated and never retreated. Without ultimate victory, we have destroyed armies 3 and 4 times as large as our own. We have been paid for years with the treasure of the defeated Persian kings. Alexander has always been generous with us. We soldiers are his family.
You are Alexander's closest boyhood friend and defend him well, but the battles have worn us out. We have fought for over 10 years and we suffered thousands of lives. lost in defeating King Darius and chasing his successor, Bessus, all over the Persian Empire. His decisions do not make sense. We just defeated King Porus, and Alexander made him a more powerful king than he was.
Alexander has heard enough. He wants to cross the river into the rest of India and tries to convince the troops once again to trust him.
I know you all want to go home, but listen to me. I made Porus a king because he fought bravely and did not run away like the coward Darius did. The king's courage will make him a good ally and the rest of the battles against India.
Or it will allow Porus to build up another army. No Iranian from India, Persia, or Egypt can ever be trusted. We are Macedonians and Greeks. We must trust ourselves.
We're tired of India. We didn't come here to sleep with snakes and swim with crocodiles at every river crossing. The elephants used in this land stink and they upset our horses. We were very lucky to destroy those 200 elephants in the last battle. They might have led to our defeat.
We have conquered every army we have faced. When will a few elephants defeat the entire army of Macedon? I, who built a navy and conquered invincible Tyre. And I, who cut the Gordian knot with a slash of my sword. Do you no longer trust me?
I've conquered enough mountains. Those mountain passes in the Hindu Kush leading to India were terrible to both men and horses.
And what did we find? Endless rain, soaking heat that rots our skin, and insects, like all of the devils in Hades itself. Hundreds have been bitten by snakes. We have more sores than skin. The food is wretched, and what is there of it is spoiled. It is worse than the stinking food in the rocky deserts we cross to get to the mountains. The drinking water is polluted and makes most of the army sick. This land is not worth owning, Alexander. It is a waste of effort to destroy armies protecting such a worthless place. The astronomers have predicted disaster, and the priests fear the anger of all the gods.
Well, if we do conquer all of India, we would reach the edge of Asia and take it all. We would be total masters of the world.
We already are masters of most of the world.
Not.
We have left our dead on every battlefield from Macedonia and Greece through Persia and Egypt and the lands leading to the gates of India. Let's just honor their sacrifices and go home.
We refuse, Alexander, to go forward. Our minds are set. We want to see our families.
If that is your wish, I will go on alone. You may all turn around and retreat like mice if you wish. I will fight on. I have already made plans to send home the older soldiers who have fought for me even back in the days of my father. A new army is training to replace them.
We know of this army. It is made up of Persians. They are mere boys and foreigners. Who would trust Persians to fight without Macedonians to give them courage?
Me.
They will run at the first battle like their fathers did. We already have too many Persians and other barbarians in our armies. I am going to sleep.
I understand that you miss your wives. Many of you have married foreign wives during our travels. I will make those marriages legal, like your wife. I also intend to marry a second wife, Statira, a Persian princess. I have already arranged to have 80 Persian princesses brought to our camp, when we return from India, of course. We will have a great marriage ceremony and celebration. We will feast for days and honeymoon. That is, after we capture the other kingdoms of India.
My luck, I'll get the ugliest person in Persia, like that guy.
Stupid sign around his neck.
No one minds acquiring another wife until they return home. But the time has come to go home now.
Yes.
We will not cross that river.
Yes, you
No.
will.
No.
I see that I have no choice. I know what the priests and astronomers have predicted, too. I will yield to your wishes, and yours, and yours, and all of yours. But we will go home by another road. Let us capture the lands we go on that way.
After this meeting, Alexander divided his army into 3 parts and set part of it by a water route while he traveled across a very inhospitable desert land along the Indus River to the Indian Ocean.
And then
Yeah.
woke up.
His army engaged in many battles. In one fight, Alexander led his army into a heavily fortified city and was severely wounded. He recovered, but later on the journey, he was bitten by a mosquito. And contracted serious malaria. And Alexander died before his army got through Persia.
Shield yourself.
His generals then fought each other for years for control of various parts of his once powerful army. The end.
I'm going with the guy with the
Okay, you're like,
No more machine gun for you. Ba, 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 ba.
Is there discussion?
Yes. So we have some questions for you guys.
Stand up.
Okay. So the first question is, why do you think the soldiers were so angry at Alexander for adopting Persian manners?